Hey guys, welcome to Mad About Film. Thanks for joining me, and today we're going to review Ali and Nino, which is a film about a love story set in Azerbaijan around the turn of the 20th century. Ali and Nino is a book written by a chap called Kurban Said, and was a very popular book in terms of literature for the nation of Azerbaijan. The film itself is directed by Asif Kapadia, who also directed Amy, the Amy Winehouse documentary, and the Formula One driver documentary Senna. In this particular story, he goes back to narrative storytelling like he did in The Warrior, and he tells the story of Ali and Nino, which is basically a love story between a Muslim Azerbaijan chap and also a woman of Georgian Christian descent known as Nino. Let's have a quick look.
What is your name?
Ali Khan Sarvansar.
Princess Nina Gurpiani.
Your religion?
Shia Muslim.
Georgian Orthodox.
What is your wish?
I ask you to join us to defend our homes and keep the enemy from our door.
The book Ali and Nino is supposedly written by a chap called Kurban Said, but there is some kind of myth around who Kurban Said actually was. It is said that he was basically one of two authors, Chamanza Minli and Nusim Baum. What is known about the story of Ali and Nino is that it's a love story between a Christian Georgian woman and a Muslim Azerbaijani boy, played respectively by Maria Valverde and Adam Bakri. One thing that's really convincing about this film is the love story element in the actual film. It's really nice to see Maria Valverde and Adam Bakri really kind of throw themselves into the roles of Ali and Nino. The chemistry between the two is really interesting. They basically are just a normal couple, and the way it is played is that they actually fall in love with each other like anyone else would fall in love. And that's what's really nice about the story. It's the things that they're conflicted with and the things that they have sort of in terms of pressures from either parents or the cultural differences between the two characters, that's the thing that kind of plays out, which is really interesting. It's like they exist, you know, they are Ali and Nino, and they know they're in love with each other and they're going to marry each other. The difficult questions that are asked about, you know, Nino being part of a harem of Muslim women that, you know, Ali's cultural background is kind of indicative of, is a question that comes into play. But the point is that it's the existence of love between the two of them and the compromise between the two characters that kind of shows the real love that existed between these two characters. In terms of cultural differences, the Christian, Georgian and kind of Muslim marriages that occurred at the time of the 20th century were quite commonplace, I read. And that's quite interesting because it's almost like the cultures from two very, very different kind of religions were sitting right next to each other in terms of territory and space, and yet people obviously got married. If someone was from a particular family or from a particular background, that didn't really matter. The point was that if they felt it was a good match, then it would work. So even though one was Muslim and one was Christian, they came together. It's quite an interesting premise, especially in today's society. So I think it's quite a relevant story to be told in today's modern times, and yet this story existed around about 1901 to like 1920. The whole story revolves around the state of Azerbaijan and the formation of that particular state. And Azerbaijan was actually a country that was actually kind of like dominated by the Russians after the Bolshevik Revolution. So the Russians dominated Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan was a state of Russia. And actually Azerbaijan only really found independence in 1991, which adds a lot of weight to the story and actually being quite culturally relevant and also true in terms of historical premise. I really liked Adam Bakri's acting. I really liked Maria Valverde. They looked beautiful together. They were very, very convincing in terms of the leads. Even though Adam Bakri and Maria Valverde actually do really, really well in terms of telling their story, I just felt that there was something missing in terms of the flow with the dialogue. And that was something that kind of took me out of the situation, which I didn't really appreciate. You know, I was really involved with the story, and the set pieces are great. The characters are kind of sort of well drawn out by the actors, but also they should be sort of gelling together more. You had really, really good acting potential from Mandy Patinkin, who plays a father. You got Connie Nielsen, who was in Gladiator and most recently Wonder Woman. There's also another actor called Humayun Eshadi, who is Ali's dad, who is also another great actor as well. The thing is, the actors and the talent was all there, but if the actors had a flow to their dialogue and actually kind of felt more realistic in terms of actually just the way they performed, it's such a shame because you have such big talent on screen and it's a little bit wasted. The acting in terms of the two leads was fantastic, and the story itself is quite absorbing, but the thing is, it was kind of like a Sunday TV movie afternoon kind of movie, and that was the problem I had with it. Even though I enjoyed it and I loved it, and I actually watched it with my parents and they really enjoyed it too, it just was not quite right for me in terms of flow, and I think that's the problem with Ali and Nino. It's a great love story, historically significant, The story kind of comes from a very, very popular novel and is kind of a national novel of Azerbaijan. It's really important that those things kind of stay in there. But there was that feeling of like some executive producer just got in the way and said, no, we should do it like this and we should do it like that. It is a really good film. It's not a terrible film, but it's not going to be up there in terms of what I think is the best kind of epic, you know, brilliant film. And it's such a shame because it could have been the Dr. Zhivago of our times, because it really is epic in terms of the locations and the scenery and the actual historical significance of the story. You know, the love story kind of crosses borders, you know, metaphorically and literally. The two leads are great. It's worth it in terms of being transported into sort of Eastern European / Asian states like Georgia and Azerbaijan, and also in terms of the Russian dominance of that area for pretty much most of the 20th century. It's a really, really good story to watch. But for me, it doesn't quite hit that mark in terms of acting, and knowing that they had a lot of talent and a lot of money and a lot of production money put into it, it could have been just a little bit more up there. So for me, it's going to get 3 out of 5, I think. But I must say, the film is worth it for Adam Bakri's performances and Maria Valverde's version of Nino. It's a really good and interesting story, and the Azerbaijan people should be very proud. The film is available on digital download and on DVD from Thunderbird Releasing, so if you get a chance, give it a go. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and if you like that review, please like, subscribe and comment. And if you want to watch another one, why don't you watch the Blade Runner one that I did recently with Gareth Keogh and Said Tej. It's a very good two-parter and it's worth watching. So yeah, please click here, there, somewhere. I'll put it somewhere anyway. See you around.